heart and sword, always for Demacia.
Seems you left your brave pants at home. You want me to wait while you go get them? Don't be a scaredy cat!
The fun begins.
Man, that intro song is so nice. I love it so much. Here we are for another rousing night of Scuffed League tournament action here. What day is this now, Sword? What day are we on now?
Time is irrelevant. I haven't left my house in months.
Ah, that's good point. Good point. Today we got a pretty interesting matchup in the Maryland Duelist versus the Missouri Evolution. Uh, I'm pretty excited, and most importantly, because I get to watch and cast some League of Legends action. Everybody's like, "Oh, you're always excited for every team." Well, I just like League of Legends, all right. As much as I hate League of Legends, I love League of Legends. Let's be real,
Yeah, no, it's
It's
great to
okay.
watch. It's painful to play.
Depends on who you are. Depends on how your games have been going. I was riding a 7-game winning streak in solo queue, and I'm like, I love League of Legends, and then like, I'm like 2-4 in my last 6. I'm like, I kind of like League of Legends.
It only takes one moron who thinks he's got the next groundbreaking support pick to completely ruin your night.
Yeah, I always dislike that as an AD carry, man.
Come on, man. Yone support works. Just let me do it.
Oh no, oh no, Nate, it's Yone. So, take a look at these two teams. It looks like Maryland is the clear favorite coming into this. This team is pretty stacked. Maryland's lowest ranked player is Plat 3, and we all know ranks aren't the end all be all, in terms of team play and everything like that. But it's a great measure of skill. And when the worst player on your team is a quote unquote worst player on your team is a platinum player, you are in pretty good shape, and you are definitely going to be a force in any game. Compare it to the Missouri side, where their best player is platinum. They definitely have their work cut out for them. Maybe it's not as bad as if they were playing against Iowa or something like that, but they definitely are going to have to be sharp in their team play in order to try to get a W today. What do you think about that?
I think I like the Chaco band coming out from Maryland so far. Because that is one of Missouri's jungle players' favorite picks right there.
Such a wise ban. He is their best player. I hope they target him the entire draft. You hate to see somebody get targeted so hard, but that goes to show that Maryland's taking this game seriously and comes in with a clear game plan. We do see Missouri has opted to ban Alawi and Kane thus far. Those are pretty good target bans at Traveler Dante and Bareface. Maryland has gone for the Urgot ban. This dude plays a ton of Urgot.
Yeah, Urgot's just an insane pick in general because I feel like you can blind pick him into a lot of matchups and he's just totally okay with it.
Looks like Diana was the final ban for Team Missouri, whereas Team Maryland opted to ban the Caitlyn. Missouri's AD carry doesn't necessarily play all too much Caitlyn from what I can see. Missouri did end up picking up the Ashe for their AD carry. That's an AD carry they're definitely comfortable on. And it looks like Maryland might pick this Lucian, a big power pick. They have locked it in. This Lucian can go quite literally almost anywhere, top, mid, or AD carry. And, any mid laner and AD carry worth their salt are going to know how to play this champion.
Yeah, Maryland's AD carry player is a huge Lucian player. A lot of his most recent matches have been on that champion, so I have a feeling it's an ADC Lucian.
Yeah, I always like it. People are
early at least in.
People are a little put off when you pick Lucian and put him in AD carry because they just think he's better in mid. I'm like, hey, listen, this champion's really, really strong. Why set one person behind when you can set 2 people behind?
Yeah, for sure. And he has some of the best synergy with a lot of really fun, aggressive supports. Like him and Fresh and him and Rob is just such a fun lane.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
We do see, as you mentioned, Maryland picked up an early Lee Sin. Missouri's responded in kind with the Lilia. Not quite sure what this Lilia is going to go. Haven't seen too much Lilia in the mass histories of these players, but it could be something they've been working on the practice tool. It could be something they've been working on with the Smurfs, maybe some super secret tech.
Yeah, Lily knows one of those things where she can go really anywhere right now in the meta. So yeah, it's hard to track her. She's a good early pick for that reason because you can flex her around. Cassiopeia?
Missouri has, yeah, they have opted to that Cassiopeia. Definitely a champion that the Razzle Dazzler does play. However, this does kind of lock them in to a very constrained team comp. Missouri does not have a lot of mobility in the way of Ash and Cassiopeia. While Lilia may be running around and diving Team Maryland, the carries might be a little far behind.
I'm not a huge fan of picking up the Mordekaiser right there and then because Missouri showed their hand on who their mid laner was. You had the chance to counterpick it before Missouri gets to ban out mid laners, but instead you pick your top laner and you open Missouri to get to counterpick your top lane pick.
Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree with that. However, I do think Mordekaiser is definitely a strong enough pick, especially against this team so far. You know, Ash and Cassiopeia are already going to have a hard time getting away from Mordekaiser, and meanwhile, if you do put Lily in the Death Realm, that really limits her mobility. She can only go so far. Some pretty interesting bans coming out. We see Maryland did opt for the Thresh. It is a solid ban as always. The champion's very strong. Missouri has gone to ban away the Vayne. Do like that. Don't necessarily think that it's super necessary. The Lucian was already picked, and they're probably thinking it's a flex mid. But I do think there are other AD carries that Maryland could have picked, and they could have probably spent the ban elsewhere. Maryland with a very solid ban, in my opinion, in this Trendemir. Split push potential. I think that would be the way that Missouri would be able to win the game. So I think that was a pretty good decision there by Team Maryland to ixnay that Trendemir.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of teams going for sort of trying to get like that split push top laner maybe, but a lot of times the top laner who TPs to the fights end up getting the better advantage in this tournament so far.
We see the Tarek ban came out of Missouri. I don't necessarily like it too much. It is definitely a support that Man Walrus plays. There's no doubt about that. However, with the kind of team comp that they have, I don't necessarily think they were going to need the Tarek ultimate. And apparently, Man Walrus is a very avid Alistar player. Opts for the Alistar. This is going to be a super aggressive bot lane against the low mobility Ashe. I think Missouri is in a lot of trouble straight from the draft.
Get your cowbells ready, boys. We got the cow.
Hold on. Do I have anything that's like...
Oh, I love Alistair to death. He was the first champion I ever made.
Oh, wait. Hold on. I have an empty deck box now. Hold on. Let me see if I can find something metal to do the... oh, wait. Hold on. Here we go. I've got a Pack Siver fidget spinner. Let's see if it makes the noise.
Nope.
It's making the noise, but I don't think it's coming through.
It is not being picked up on the mic.
That's unfortunate. Well, I mean, it definitely sounded like a cowbell, that's for sure.
All right. Last
Yeah,
as it turns out,
having a metal deck box is pretty useful.
Okay.
There's some solid picks out of Missouri here. You need a little bit of beef in your team comp. You know, it's team comps are like tacos, right? You can't have a taco without any beef. And they opt for the Braum. They opt for the Ornn. There's very good engage tools here. Braum with really good peel ability. Ornn can peel
Senna?
to a certain extent, and we do see Team Maryland has opted for the Senna. I'm thinking this is a Lucian mid, and they've elected to go Alistar Senna bot lane, is what I'm thinking here. So it would be Mordekaiser top, Lee Sin in the jungle, Lucian in the mid lane, Alistar at support, and Senna at AD carry. That seems like the decisions here.
Yeah, that totally goes with what I was saying about how I thought the Mordekaiser pick didn't make a whole lot of sense. But if you're planning for the Lucian to go mid with a surprise Senna at the end of the draft, then all of a sudden Maryland's options there make a lot more sense.
I do agree with that. And while we are in the actual, the picks and bans of the tournament draft, they got to do all that stuff in the background. I do want to introduce you to tonight's starting lineups for Missouri versus Maryland. On the Missouri side, in the top lane, we have Bearded Minion. In the jungle, King Ruler 30. The mid laner is the Razzle Dazzler, baby. That's a great name. I can't wait to say that name multiple times today. Divider? Yeah, that looks like Divider. That's a pretty
Divider, maybe?
I don't know, because it makes sense if it's Divider, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Divider, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, at 80 carry, and Chambers the support. Meanwhile, on Team Maryland, we do have Traveler Dante in the top lane, Bareface CM in the jungle, Nirne in the mid lane, Millie at 80 carry, and Mana Walrus rounding out the team playing support.
Yeah, both these sides ended up getting a lot of comfort picks for their players, which is kind of interesting because nobody except for the junglers seem to have really gotten target banned. Besides that, they also attacked some of the more just high picks this tournament with the Caitlyn ban.
I do agree with that sentiment there. And we may have a small delay. Apparently, somebody did not know how to pick their champion properly. So they're not a long delay. They weren't too late into it. It might just be about a minute or so. But taking a look at the team comps, craft a game plan if your team Missouri. You kind of know you're the underdogs here against a very strong mechanically Team Maryland team, and their team comp does look pretty fierce. If your team Missouri, what are you doing to win the game?
Yeah, so Missouri here, I think they by far have the better late game with the Cassiopeia and the Ash because Cassiopeia, the longer the game goes on, the more and more damage she's able to pump out, the more twin fangs just going into everybody, stacking that poison like crazy. So they're looking to play the long game here and not lose too heavily early. That being said, Maryland's got the aggressive early jungler with the Lee Sin and the aggressive bot lane with the Alistar because he wants to go and start knocking people up as soon as he can.
Absolutely, I do agree with that. Missouri definitely does have the late game in their pocket, as you know. Team Maryland, their insurance policy looks to be their Senna. Senna does, infinitely scale as an
Yep.
incredibly strong champion. However, they do definitely want to be aggressive in this early game with the Lucian, Leeson, and Alistar combo. I expected that three-man conglomerate to try to make plays outside of the bot lane, as well as in the bot lane. Try to, wrestle around for dragon control and get ahead that way. I do think that Team Maryland is kind of on a timer here. If they let the game go too long, if Missouri provided Team Missouri is farming well enough, uh, Team Missouri can definitely put up a big fight in this game. But the big fear is going to be that Alistar Cassiopeia miasma is going to be huge in protecting the team. It's very rare that you get to see Cassiopeia's miasma be a huge self peel tool, but in this game especially would be absolutely crazy. It does prevent the Lee Sin Q. If he's on top of the miasma, it does prevent Alistar from going forward with the headbutt pulverize combo. So I am definitely interested in seeing that these miasmas land in really, really key places to protect not only Razzle Dazzle but Divider.
Yeah, and I think overall Missouri created an easier team comp to play as a whole because you've got your easy and strong engages with the Ornhorn and the Braum ultimate, and you've got your carries who can just sit behind, stack on that CC, and make their attacks. But Maryland's got a lot of great disruptors to that strong engage, like such as the Mordekaiser ult and the Lee Sin kick. So it'll be very interesting to see how these fights play out if Lee Sin can get onto the targets he wants to.
Absolutely. Lee Sin, I'm anticipating him being super
Yeah.
duper strong early on in the game.
It's always hype when he's in the match because you get to see some fun moves.
Absolutely,
Hopefully.
and I'm pegging Bareface to really really make some plays on this champion. Very high skill intensiveness champion, lots of skill expression in Lee Sin, and sometimes you look like Godfist Lee Sin, and other times you look like you're playing with your
You
blindfold
actually are
on,
blind, yes.
landing on your keyboard.
Yeah, Lee
Interested to see how
Sin's
Missouri is
like I
gonna
think
deal with
most
that.
people I think most people agree Lee Sin is the like one of the highest skill cap champions in the entire game. So this will be really interesting to watch.
Absolutely, and it's crazy to see over the years how the skill floor of Lee Sin has risen. Back in
Mhm.
the day, seeing somebody perform an insect, the ward hop kick, was like, oh my god, this random in my game just did that. Holy moly, this guy's insane. But like nowadays, like if you take a look at a bronze game, like they do that in bronze.
Yeah, the
Like
real skill
it's
cap
kind
of
of
Lee
crazy.
Sin is if you can do the kick, then flash mid animation to get the guy to fly in the correct direction.
Yep,
That's the really hard
that
thing
one's
to
an
do
awesome
now.
one. That one's an awesome.
Animation canceling with flash is a
Mhm.
is a trait that if you can pull it on the right champions, it's an insane tool. Cassiopeia also does that very well because she can cancel the
Mhm.
animation on her ultimate.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts to see. I was actually watching a montage of Faker the other day, and he did that on Cassiopeia a couple of times. It's just crazy to see that the animation goes like one way, and on the other side, somebody's stunned, and it's like that's just like absolutely bonkers. Like, I don't know how
Yeah.
abilities work in League of Legends anymore.
Yeah, you can also do it to hide the charge animation on Varus's ultimate, which can also really throw people off guard.
Yeah, that one's a great one. That's an excellent engage tool, but
Yeah,
no, Varus is Vari. Varus is Vari. What's the plural of Varus? Is it just Varus?
I think it's just Varus.
No Varus to be found in this game. I
Nope.
realized that using it in a singular term would have also worked, but my brain works a little bit too slow for that,
Well,
unfortunately.
it is two people in one body because they redid his lore. I think I never really read that, to be honest.
Yeah. You're not wrong about that. I do recall that it is two people in one body. That's
Yeah.
you could make some sort of joke about something two, something one, but I don't really want to do that. I don't want to bring up bad memories from like middle school.
Hmm.
So your team Maryland, what's your game plan? We already know they were planning on being aggressive, but how are you going to dictate the game of your team Maryland?
It's all about allowing Lee Sin to gain early control. You got to be rotating to him when he needs trouble. You got to be pushing in early so that he can get invades onto Lilia because you can punish a Lilia jungle early with invades pretty easily. She's not a very safe jungler as far as camp clearing and her health bar are concerned. So you can punish it as Lee Sin pretty heavily, but you need your team to be able to back you up in order to do that.
Absolutely. I do think that Team Maryland is going to be able to back up, this Leeson. They got a little bit of beef on the team early on. I think Alistar provides enough tank.
They have all
Um,
the beef. They got the
so
cow, and
they
it's
do have
not
that.
the cowbell skin.
Oh snap! That's a Hextech Alistar. If I'm Team, oh my god.
It's a flex,
Holy
but it's not
moly.
the correct flex.
No. That's definitely a correct flex. If I'm Team Missouri, I'm so scared right now. Like this guy either unboxed it and just got really lucky, or is that much of an avid Alistar player that he's like, yeah, let me get the cool skin that it takes forever to get and so much time investment and money investment. That's how you know that
I think,
somebody's an Alistar player. And I do like the Lucian Prime too. Everybody forgets that like the chromas for Lucian, you've got a red, a blue, and a yellow one, are essentially just like they were some of the first chromas to come out, and they actually felt like different skins for Lucian, but like just a very very basic type thing. I always like that, so I'm happy to see that in game. I haven't seen one of those in years.
yeah, they're
See
nice.
like that? Yeah, it's my
The
boy.
the Zac one is really nice too, because just changing Zac's color is just that's the whole thing. Is
Yeah, right.
he's a blob.
Absolutely. So the skin war definitely has to go over to Team Maryland. I think Hextech Alistar puts it over
Yeah,
the top.
that carried the whole team, especially because the only other skin is Muay Thai Lee Sin.
Very interesting here. We only have one heal in this game. The Senna has opted for the cleanse. I think that's a pretty wise decision. Lily asleep, Cassiopeia ultimate, Ash ultimate,
Braum passive.
Braum passive can stun you up. I do think that that's definitely a pretty wise choice. And Lucian has opted for Ignite mid. Nothing too surprising there. Could have won a teleport, maybe even a ghost, but I think Ignite is definitely the summoner of choice, and that was, pretty standard stuff coming out here. Runes don't look too out of the ordinary for any of these champions. So far as we are now loading into the game, Summoner's Rift has the lights off. Somebody needs to turn the lights on to Summoner's Rift. Uh, I guess the janitor probably left them off right now, but don't worry. Once the lights get turned on, y'all will be able to see it.
Yeah, the only other thing I wanted to mention about the rune situation is Lee Sin opted for the Conqueror, and I've seen some people see success with electrocute Lee Sin as well because Q auto is basically an automatic electrocute proc. It's kind of like if you're going hardcore like assassin Lee Sin, that can work, but I'm assuming this is going to be a more standard fightery kind of Lee Sin, so I think it's the correct choice.
Absolutely. And here we go. Team Missouri versus Team Maryland. Our first game of what? Wednesday? Yeah, Wednesday, right? Yeah, Wednesday
Yeah.
night Scuff League. And it's going to be an interesting one, that's for sure. I do think Team Maryland has a pretty strong draft here. All they got to do is take slight control of the early game, and they can run away with it quick. Both teams opting for the line of scrimmage here, and nothing too out of the ordinary. It is football season after all.
Yeah, both teams I thought drafted pretty well with different game plans in mind, while also keeping what everybody feels the most comfortable on as a part of the comp. Because Manwallers is an Alistair player, true and true, as we can see from the Hextech skin.
Yeah, definitely. I'm interested to see these headbutt pulverized combos. Do think that we're gonna see definitely a lot of skill expression here. They did Riot did a couple seasons ago make that combo easier to hit, but interested to see if we're gonna see any flash headbutts, like in towers and stuff like that. That's always a fun one. Nothing too crazy going on. Lee Sin has opted to start the red buff. Not interesting choice there. As we see a Razzle
He-
Dazzler is definitely getting pushed off this wave early, and
Yeah.
Lucian Dash getting very, very aggressive there. I do like the Relentless Pursuit open here from the Lucian. He has taken absolute control of the wave right now.
Yeah, Lee Sin gets a slightly less start from taking the red side on the or red start on red side of the map, just because it's only Mordekaiser giving him a leash. But in the same breath, he doesn't have mana, so his blue buff's not that big, and he's going for an invade.
Yeah, I noticed that he is going for the early invade. It does have mid control on the side of Team Maryland right now, so I think this is a pretty wise decision here by Bareface. Lilia is on her way.
Oh,
but is
she's gonna do wolves
a
first.
vacation to start the wolves. Now if Bear whoa,
Ooh.
Nirne got first blood in the mid lane. Not sure how that happened, but that was awesome. Now Bareface trying to find an engage onto King Ruler 30. King Ruler is already really low. Eep, watch out. Gets him back to the tower. Will get out of there without dying, but Team Maryland getting the early advantage here in these trades. Nice control of the jungle here from Bareface, and not entirely unsurprising.
Smart from Lilia to not blow her flash there, and she calmly just walks away.
Yeah, I can agree with that. As we see Bearded Minion, it did try to get a trade onto Traveler Dante, but took the brunt of that trade. Not what you like to see early on in the top lane, but Ornn's going to be a relevant champion regardless.
Yeah, it's really hard to win prolonged fights with the Mordekaiser after his passive starts spinning, because you really
Lilia.
just want to wait till it's over before
Lilia has
re-engaging.
found the Alistar with the Swirl Seed. Here comes the engagement. A nice knock up there. Looks like Team Maryland's opting to disengage, gets a little bit more damage down to King Ruler 30. Meanwhile, up in the top lane, Bearded Minion trying to put some damage down onto Traveler Dante, but unfortunately that shield is a little too strong. I hate that ability so much. We do see Bareface chasing down this Lilia here in the bot lane. It looks like the Lilia is a little bit too fast to 5U and is able to get away from the Lee Sin, but Lee Sin is in hot pursuit right now.
You know, interesting fact here. You know how a lot of people consider Mordekaiser's ult dragging somebody into the Shadow Realm? Traveler Dante is a Yu-Gi-Oh card, so I don't know how intentional that pick was, but he is correct.
Yeah, it is a Yu-Gi-Oh card. I don't really play too much Yu-Gi-Oh anymore, but I do watch some unboxing videos or pack opening videos. It's weird to call them unboxings on YouTube. You know, I love me some Magic and I love me cracking some packs. So, you know, I do watch some Pokemon and some Yu-Gi-Oh opening videos for sure.
It's more rewarding than actually playing the game, so you're right.
Well, I mean, nothing replaces the fact when you open something crazy.
Yep, that's also true.
You see Lilia is heading up to the top lane. This ward is going to spot out the Lilia, but here comes the engagement. Dante is in a little bit of trouble here. It's a 2v1. He's brittle. The shield goes in. He did get knocked airborne momentarily.
He's just 2v1ing them.
He's turning this around. Dante hits level 5 and just survives the 2v1. I think King Ruler and Bearded Minion took the worst end of that trade.
Wow, that level up really turned the tide of that fight, and the fact that he positioned well enough to keep both of them inside of his passive circle for as long as possible. He dealt so much damage there.
Absolutely. We do see he's opened up an 18, now 17 CS lead really early on in the game. And King Ruler in a lot of trouble, does burn the flash. Can Bareface hit the Q? He does ward hop. He's just got to hit the Q. Nope, he's just going to auto attack here. And that is a kill over to Bareface. Is he going to come back and try to hit the Cassiopeia? He does have the Q up. He can't land the Q. And it looks like a Razzle Dazzler gave him a little bit of the Razzle Dazzle. But the Relentless Pursuit, he flashed, but it doesn't matter. The double shot will find you anyway. That is another kill over to Nirne. And
classic rule of League of Legends: you cannot flash auto attacks.
And it looks like Team Maryland has taken an early advantage as we expected. Opened up about a 2,000 gold lead. Now it's still early, but they do have firm control of the map.
Yeah, this is exactly what you wanted to see coming out of this Lee Sin and out of this Lucian, is to push for an early advantage, and they're doing it as about as well as you could expect.
Absolutely, and this bot lane continuously has priority, and that's what you like to see. That'll allow some potential dragons a little bit further into the future here for the side of Team Maryland.
It sets them up for future dragons, and it also just lets Lee Sin invade to his heart's content without any fear of Braum and Ashe being able to rotate.
Absolutely, we've saw it so far. 6 minutes into the game, and Bareface is giving King Ruler fits. And it's only 6 minutes in, and the beating will continue until Jungler improves.
Or until we get to a point where they're just being able to get into that ARAM phase of the game, and then they'll just have to worry about it as much.
Bareface does have an early level lead over King Ruler, and Nirne also has the advantage over Razzle Dazzler battle level there. And the culling is really, really strong early on in the game, especially with a champion like Cassiopeia, who's going to have a hard time dodging it.
Yeah, the one downside to that matchup, though, is after you start doing the culling, Lucian can't turn around, so it makes him really easy to hit with the Cassiopeia ult in response.
Absolutely. Definitely a big worry there. Interested to see if a QSS is going to be the way of this Lucian later in the game. I would think that it's a pretty wise decision considering the CC that we can see over on Team Missouri's. We see a nice headbutt pulverize combo there. Man Walrus will be able to get out. He won't get stunned up. And this is a really, really good trade for Team Maryland as Divider and Chambers are getting lower and lower and just being absolutely harassed under their turret.
Yeah, you step up into range of the Alistar headbutt, you basically just have to deal with the CC chain. There's not a whole lot you can do that as soon as you walk into range there.
You know what they say, mess with the milk those and you get the bull. Or something like that.
It's not even the milk skin. I'm still upset about that. It's a good skin, though.
CS leads all the way through
Oh,
for Team Maryland. The top gap is pretty large right now. I believe it's 31 CS. Bareface came up, is going to clear a pink out, and more vision denial on the side of Team Maryland. That is a recipe for success. As we do see Millie and Man Walrus starting to get chippy on that bottom turret. They're going to get some plates, maybe two. It looks like only one. But that is quite a bit of gold in their pockets. They've also opened up an early 20 CS lead here in the bot lane. Ashe now was able to get the BF sword. It does look like Bareface is looking to head onto that dragon, and it looks like he does. Appears he has started it up. He is definitely taking some damage. Senna has opted to back instead of helping him out. We do see a little bit of trading back and forth. Razzle Dazzler, it's not what you want to be doing though. Nirne is 2 levels up on you, and as soon as he clears this wave, I think Razzle Dazzler is going to be in trouble. We do see Bareface, as we mentioned earlier. He was taking the dragon. He ends up taking that away. And what did I say? The culling.
Beautiful
Gunning
culling.
down this Cassiopeia. Nirne getting a plate as well for his trouble. That is a huge influx of gold for the mid laner. He's got a huge lead right now.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful calling there. Landing every shot and saving the dash for when you needed it most to get the final shots off. Like, that is a masterclass in how to play Lucian mid.
Yeah, and remember, I mentioned on Monday when I last did a cast that I was League's Nostradamus, calling things before they happened. I told you it was going to happen.
Yeah. You were as right as always.
No, maybe not always, but, you know.
You're only wrong whenever you get caster cursed.
This is a nice enchanted crystal arrow. They're going to have to pop. Oh, no, he would hops over the wall, but it's an excellent flash. But no, Ashe gets kicked back over the wall. That's so depressing. A nice flash at a bearded minion, and now he's going to knock up Traveler Dante, but he is going to go down. You can't break that shield. Traveler Dante gets a solo kill, and just when you think Team Missouri was going to get on the board, disaster strikes. They lose their top laner. Their AD carry loses their flashes to get kicked right back over the wall, and tilt. That's all you can really say is tilt.
Oh, that is so tilting. When the Lee Sin has no health left, you think you've got him trapped in a corner, he kicks you out and he walks away. Yeah, I would be tilted off my mind right now if I was ADC.
Yeah, nobody puts baby in a corner. Nice swirl sleeve and Man Walrus getting it taken lower and lower, is now in the middle of 3 members of the enemy team. This is a pretty nice Senna ultimate out of Millie here. Down goes Divider. Wow. Man Walrus is going to pick this one up. Now Man Walrus pops his ultimate. He is super omega definite tanky right there. One more auto attack. King Ruler tried to flash, but you can't flash auto attacks as we mentioned earlier. Chambers will flash and get away from that. That is 2 more kills over to the side of Team Maryland, and they have just taken absolute control of this game.
That is the absolute insane power of Alistair's ult. The fact that he was just able to tank all of that like it was absolutely nothing. Granted, his whole team is ahead. They're a little bit up level-wise on their team, but that was still an insane amount of damage.
Yeah, they're gonna die. This is the headbutt. Oh, that was the pulverize. I'm sorry. Headbutt Chambers out of turret range. One more auto attack should do it, and it does. Man Walrus does die for it, but the kill does go over to the Braum, so Millie will take that every day of the week and twice on Sundays, as we do have a couple of trades back and forth. Millie starting to get a lot of range on these auto attacks. Takes the Vider down to about half, and the harassment will continue. Bareface can't quite hit the Q. Now Nirne is going to get the culling down, only 176 gold. What this Cassiopeia is worth, and that's a pretty upsetting sight to see. Millie with a nice ward there. That was a clever play there, dropping the ward to land the Senate Q to get a little bit of extra damage down onto the Vider. This will likely result in more turret plates for the Senna. So
I'm going to take notes on that one. I'm going to have to remember that one for solo queue later.
Yeah, that was sick. Nirne elected to stick around, doesn't have too much HP, did get the extra plate, but is still in the mid lane. Could potentially throw a lead here. As we do see Bearded Minion is just being harassed constantly under his turret by this Mordekaiser and the Lee Sin coming in to help him out. Nirne, I thought he had no HP, but now is up to full. He does have a Vamp Scepter. Pretty wise choice early on in the game. If you have the gold for it, just gonna try to Omega sustain through the game. We do see an engagement here in the top lane. Bearded Minion can't land the Oranhorn, and now looks like Dante's gonna get out. He was under turret. The Lee Sin kick lands,
he missed.
but the Q does not. And Bearded Minion is doing a pretty good job of surviving here. Does get pulled in. The fact that he's gonna live again. Oh man, this is getting a little crazy. Nirne is trying to get really aggressive onto the Cassiopeia here, but ooh, landing the resonating strike there from the Lee Sin will get the get the kill onto Bearded Minion, and he tried really hard.
That was the first. That was the first.
Park song about that. And Nirne, oh my god, just dashing forward. Doesn't matter. He's a little sleepy. The Razzle Dazzle is just going to throw a Q on him, give him a little bit of the Razzle Dazzle, but isn't going to do anything more than that. And Nirne with a nice dash into the poison, but the culling goes down. He's not going to be able to catch up. He will land the Q and get the double shot. He does get stunned, but it doesn't matter. It's another 176 gold in the pocket of this mid laner. 6-0 right now, and this is a slaughter.
Yeah, you hate to see it get this one-sided, but the snowball starts and it's still rolling, and it's showing no signs of stopping anytime soon.
The hits start coming, and they don't stop coming, my friend.
Yeah, exactly.
Nirne will get the mid turret, not the first turret of the game. That went over to Dante on the top lane, and we just see the large CS discrepancies. Things are just getting worse and worse. It is a 48 CS lead in the top lane. It is a 71 CS lead in the mid lane, and then a 54 CS lead in the bot lane for the side of Team Maryland. A Bareface is there to cause a little bit of hell onto this bot lane. Divider has nowhere to go. The Lee Sin does go down, but the engagement at Emanuelos will result in 2 more kills for the Senna. They're going to knock down the last outer turret of the game at 14 minutes. Team of Missouri has no outer towers left. Ouch.
All things aside, though, that wasn't actually a terrible trade for Missouri. They get a kill onto the Lee Sin. Sure, it cost them a tower and 2 people, but they got a kill. And at the state they're in right now, that's about as good of a trade as you can hope for.
I was gonna say, I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, you're trying to convince me that they didn't take the worst trade in the world, and then they
got something out of it.
It kept
something
getting worse
is
and worse.
as good as they could hope for.
It kept getting worse and worse, much like this game. Poor Lilia never had a chance to get into this game. 0-4-0. You know, it is hunting season as well around this time of year, and the culling will go down. That's another 140 gold over for Nirne. Bearded Mid. Oh, this is a nice juke out of Nirne there. He is just styling on kids right now. This is a nice team fight kiting by Nirne. Manwalrus is in the thick of things, and he is getting taken very low. Nirne dashes forward, isn't going to be able to get the kill onto Chambers. He's going to turn to Bearded Minion. Bearded Minion's going to flash away, but now Divider is getting chased down. A nice flash over the wall, but Millie is there to match the flash. Another kill toward
Oh,
Millie.
man.
Bareface with a resonating strike. It's going to kill that Braum who was running, or that Lilia that was running away, and then one auto attack onto the Braum does result in the kill. It is a double kill for the Lee Sin. Millie causing fits right now for Team Missouri. The slow, that glacial passive
Augment.
doing way too much CC. Yeah, the glacial augment. I couldn't remember what the keystone was called.
Gosh, the craziest thing to me about that is not only did Alistar walk away from that fight with like insanely small health again, but he was Lee Sin's initial W to get into that fight.
Yeah, it's one way to deliver your jungler and get him into a fight is just take the I was gonna say the Thresh Express, but I guess you could call it the Lee Sin Express, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to ask a Walrus if I can get Alistar like training later.
Well,
Think he takes Venmo?
maybe. Might also take PayPal or Zelle. I hear people are using Zelle.
Oh, you think he does Bitcoin?
It says, oh, it does accept. I mean, I'd accept Bitcoin. That's a pretty good thing to accept. And I mean, like, it seems like that would be the right player to get some training from. 1-1-6. He has shown off the Alistar prowess. That is why he has the Hextech Alistar skin. I'm not actually sure why, if that's why he has the Hextech Alistar skin, but definitely well deserving of wearing the mantle of a skin like that. As Team Maryland begins to knock down the bottom inner turret. Divide and Chambers are there.
Going for an
They do
engage
want the
on
knockup
Lily's
on the
thing.
bare face. All right, Ash can definitely put some damage down, but I don't think it's going to be enough as Ash does not quite have the items yet. Whoa, what a great Lee Sin play. A nice flash kick there. Millie
that
is gonna
Senna
drop
ult.
the Senna ultimate and get the kill. And Bareface will get out alive. That is an absolutely demoralizing play. Nice ward hop out of Bareface. And manages to survive through all of that. You gotta think that this one has absolutely gotten away from Team Missouri. Oh, Bareface getting a little too aggressive there, but the
And
headbutt
the
pulverized by
cow.
Manwalrus. He's going to trade the kill back. More gold on the side of Team Missouri, but I don't think it's going to matter at this point in the game.
It's nothing short of a miracle that's gonna get them back into this game, unfortunately. And challenging Alistar Lee Sin into a 2v2 under your tier 2 turret when your base is slowly in shambles is not the way to crawl back into this game.
Absolutely not. We did see Millie did take the dragon quite some time ago, so now that's an Infernal Drake over to the side of Team Maryland, and that extra damage, the rich get richer in this game. And Millie will now have double buffs on them, and I mean, they're already so strong. Like, can you really get stronger at this point in the game? You're 3 items at 18 minutes, like absolutely ridiculous. Does get slowed by the Braum Q. I suppose that's the only saving grace, is that Senna has a hard time catching up. But I mean, I just feel like Team Maryland's kind of playing with their food at this point. They haven't been grouping together as a team, and I'm waiting for them to, put the boot on the neck of Team Missouri and just stomp them out of the game.
Well, part of that's they've taken so much in so little time, they can't even group and try to push something like Baron because it hasn't even spawned yet. We're only 19 minutes into this game.
Yeah, 19 minutes in, it's a 17k gold lead.
Welcome to the
And
Shadow
Traveler
Realm
down
match.
there pulled Divider into the Shadow Realm, and it looks like Divider once again will go down. The first time they've been pulled into the Shadow Realm, but judging by their kill-death ratio, I feel like they've been pulled in it more times than I can count this game. The Rift Herald will be dropped by Team Maryland. I don't even think it's going to get the first charge off, so they're going to save a lot of HP for this Rift Herald. I do hope they take the inhibitor before the charge goes off, but unfortunate there. I don't think they're they're too concerned about it. The Ornhorn does come in, does find the knockup onto Nirne in the middle of the squad. Nirne will gun him down with the culling. Meanwhile, the rest of Team Maryland is running rampant over Team Missouri. That is an ace, a 5-for-1 in favor of Team Maryland. Only Lee Sin was the one to give his life, but I'm sure that is well worth it. It is a 20k gold lead at 20 minutes, and Team Maryland shows up and just absolutely dominates Team Missouri. Nothing more to say to that. It looked like one of those, one of those scenes out of the shows. It's always a classic when the little brother's, trying to fight the big brother, and the big brother just puts his hand out and holds him back. I mean, that was essentially this game in a nutshell. That was kind
I
of
think
depressing.
I think Maryland might have just set the Scuffed League record for the fastest win, and I don't foresee that victory or that record being broken anytime soon. With a win in 20 minutes and 9 seconds.
Yeah, and it was not close at all. It was
No.
an absolute drubbing. I would call it. Nirnay just solo kill after solo kill after solo kill. Didn't even need any help. Allowed Bareface to be over the map in different places. King Ruler unfortunately could just never really get into the game. Bareface just like I mentioned earlier in the cast, just gave King Ruler fits all game long. And I mean, gave him fits all game long, 6 minutes in. Like that's not even a very long time. Like that's kind of crazy how a jungler can create so much pressure on the opposing jungler in just 6 minutes.
Yeah, King Ruler on his like solo queue is a Shaco and Kha'Zix kind of player. So putting him on Lilith might be really out of his comfort zone. Granted, it's a team cup environment, and that's probably what the team wanted and would be better overall pick. But it's not what he knows how to play, and Lilia is just very weak to aggressive junglers and early invades. And I've been wanting to see her get punished more in this league like that, and that's exactly how you do it right there.
Yep, it looks like Team Maryland had a pretty simple game plan: kill them, don't die, and they executed it pretty well. So, I mean, if you're Team Missouri, do you put a lot of stock into this loss? I know we're having the actual season come up soon. I mean, it's hard to say like, oh, they played really really well. There's a lot of redeeming qualities that they had in that game because it was just such an absolute drubbing on all facets of the game. There wasn't really. Do you think there was any bright spots that they could take away from that?
So historically, if you look at the Winter Olympics, the first time China ever had a figure skating team, they absolutely embarrassed themselves on the world stage. They fumbled, they fall down, and it was an absolute disgrace. The next year, they started coaching, and they have been coaching for China for years and years and years. And eventually, China's figure skaters are some of the like most graceful looking in the world. So you got to take your losses where they are and do something with them. You got to learn from your mistakes and keep pushing forward. I have high hopes for Missouri moving forward, and I have high hopes for every team as we advance here at Scuff League.
I don't necessarily disagree with that. This is a good litmus test to see, which teams are, you know, in the higher echelons of teams in the hierarchy, the top 10 list that was posted a couple days ago, and see where some teams maybe do need a little bit of work. Team Missouri knows based off this game right now they can't stack up to Team Maryland, but you learn a lot more from a loss than you do a win. I'm interested to see in the future how they take any potential lessons from this game. Maybe do a couple of VOD reviews, see, okay, maybe I was out of position here, or, we didn't ping this right here. Because even though Team Maryland does possess a definite, um, is the skill gap is in favor of them, you can always learn from games like this, even though it's a little painful to look at.
It is. These are the kind of games where we've all been there. We've had games where somebody on the other team is just destroying the entire map, and you just sit there at one point and you can try to blame something else, and it's a very common thing, especially with league players, to like try to blame somebody else on your team, try to push the blame as far away from yourself as possible. But you got to own it together as a team, talk about it, fix what happened, and push forward through it, and see what you can do moving forward.
So apparently I'm supposed to tell everybody to go see what Mikey Poo put in memes and shit posting. Uh, it looks like somebody. Wait a minute. Why does that corn say Iowa on it? Hold on. I'm gonna have to go watch that later. If you're in the Discord, go over to memes and shit posting and look at that. That's a corn cob with Iowa written on it. Are they eating Sharpie? I don't understand. Mikey, what is this? What have you done? What?
I think he wanted us to talk about how Maryland just outplayed Iowa's performance by getting a faster win time, and I think he just wants us to call him out on it.
I mean, it's not really. I mean,
Yeah.
it is Mikey calling anybody out. Mikey would call out a sandwich if he could.
Yeah. He goes to
Apparently,
like
it's Iowa going down, but we're not talking about Iowa right now. A and B. You're not gonna win, Mikey. Put it to rest. You're gonna lose. All you do is play Maokai. You're just a tree.
what are you even gonna do? You're just a tree.
You're just a plant. Shut up, man.
Oh man, it's great to talk crap about Mikey when he can't talk back to defend himself.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Apparently, he'll call out a Reuben sandwich. Why you calling out a Reuben sandwich? You got a problem? Until you got a problem with Reubens? Reubens are pretty good. Love me a good Reuben. I don't have them that much, but they are some very very high quality sandwiches. Looks like we will be heading to a short break. The game did not last as long as we thought it would. So give us about 10 minutes, and we'll be back with the rest of the night's Scuffed League action. We do have Team Florida versus Team Pennsylvania up next. I live over in New Jersey. I definitely rep a lot of Philly teams. So I guess I'll rep this Pennsylvania team. I'm happy to see them play. I'm really excited to see them play, and I am pulling for them. I'll admit I'm a little biased, but we'll get into more of that after the break.
Excuse me? What are you doing?
Nothing.
Are you supporting the other team?
No, I would never support anyone but you.
Just because
No.
you're from Iowa doesn't mean you get to support them. Why isn't this long starting?
Yo. Yo.
I don't even know how we follow that up.
That is the
Honestly.
quality. Listen, we might not necessarily have the great players and the awesome plays, but I can guarantee you're not going to find content like that at an NALCS or anywhere else. That was awesome.
Yeah. You're not gonna find anything like that ever again, hopefully.
Listen, you know what? After that, I think I'm off the Team Iowa train. The passion out of Mikey. I think I think this team can pull it out. I don't know. If
He's
I'm
getting all
Team
the fans
Iowa,
right now, that's for sure.
if I'm Team Iowa, I'm shaking on my corn stalks right now, dude. Oh man. Well, that was fun. Thank you, Mikey, for the content. We appreciate it. It helped us fill a couple of seconds here. So we are going to get into Team Florida versus Team Pennsylvania. Big fan of Team Pennsylvania. They're in the neighboring state. You know, the state of Pennsylvania has a lot of good things. You know, like you know what? Maybe I was wrong.
You couldn't even think of the word cheesesteak.
I mean,
You went
that's
on about Rubens and you couldn't
that's
think of
like
cheesesteak.
that's like a Philly thing, not like a Pennsylvania thing.
Philly is in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, but you know, everybody who lives in Pennsylvania that doesn't live in Philly will tell you that Philly is different from Pennsylvania.
I don't know.
I see.
Yeah,
I would know this. And apparently, the best Philly cheesesteak is actually in Camden, New Jersey, not in Philly, but it's right over the bridge. So
look. As an Ohioan, I just cheer for Pittsburgh
you're
once
just
Ohio
corn.
inevitably loses.
You are just corn.
Yes, but I'm corn that pretends it's Pennsylvania corn as soon as all the Ohio teams lose.
Does Pennsylvania produce corn? Hold on.
No, they
Google.
produce steel and
Does
penguins, as far as I'm concerned.
Pennsylvania not have early voting? Produce corn. Oh, coin. Produce corn. Modern agricultural production in Pennsylvania includes corn, wheat, oats, barley, sorghum, soybeans, tobacco, sunflowers, potatoes, and sweet potatoes. So, Pennsylvania does indeed produce corn. Been out in the countryside a couple of times. It's real nice out there. I should have known that. I've driven by, you know, like Lancaster and you know areas, the Amish areas and stuff like that. You know, I ran into fake Amish kids once.
Mhm.
I was at a magic tournament. I was with a buddy of mine. And we went to go get dinner afterwards. There's four Amish kids at a table. They looked like they were double dating, and I see them laughing at memes on a cell phone.
Oh, that's not cheating. That's just called being a Mennonite.
I was like, wait, what do you mean? What do you mean you're looking at a cell phone? You're Amish. They were
Yeah.
dressed in the whole Amish getup and everything.
Yeah, that happened to me at band camp because we were at an Amish village and one of the cooks in the mess hall put out a cell phone. And this other guy in my band screamed across the whole cafe. He's cheating at the top of his lungs.
Now I do see we have a little cheesesteak argument in the chat. Pat's and Geno's, they're tourist cheesesteaks, but I mean like you know, if I really want a cheesesteak at 3 a.m., like I'll definitely go to Geno's. Like I'm totally okay with that. I'll go to Pat's. I'm not above that. I love cheesesteaks, and I don't, you know, if it's 3 a.m., it's gonna be really hard to find a good cheesesteak. I'm not looking for a good cheesesteak at 3 a.m. I'm just looking for a cheesesteak at 3 a.m.
Yeah, no, that's like the Taco Bell fallacy. It sounds terrible for lunch, but it sounds great at 2 in the morning.
You know what? You're absolutely right. So, I want to take a look at these teams as we begin to get into the draft. You know, the starting lineups for today's game, we do have Team Florida Nitro Dax 5 in the top lane, Qui-Gon Scotch, not to be confused with Qui-Gon Jinn in the jungle, I Birthday in the mid lane, King Post-it at 80 carry, and Thigh High Croc, which is the most horrifying thing that you could think of for a summoner name.
Do not
will
imagine
be
it.
We'll be at support. Meanwhile, for Team Pennsylvania, we have Conflicts in the top lane. Diamond Eye is gold in the jungle. Voidhammer at mid lane. Rhyria? I don't actually know how to pronounce that. Do you know how to pronounce that? I never got a confirmation on pronunciation there.
I'm not sure either, to be honest.
I'm calling you Rhyria until you tell me otherwise. And then we have a Blossom at support. Really interested to see what Team Pennsylvania is going to ban. From what I could see, Birthday is a Xerath one trick, and like only Xerath, like only fans, but it's Xerath. So interested to see if Pennsylvania is going to aim over and try to take that pick away. We do see Florida has finished their first 3 bans. They've gone with Syndra, Urgot, and Thresh. I think these are all great. Conflicts is a big Urgot OTP. I wouldn't necessarily say he's a one-trick pony, but he's got the most games on that champion in ranked. He's got like 240 some odd games, whereas his Malphite is the second best, and it's at like 40-ish games. Pennsylvania has opted to ban Sejuani, Caitlyn, and Wukong, and they did not ban the Xerath. So even though it is a bit of a risky pick because of the lack of mobility, the Xerath one trick gets their Xerath. Team Pennsylvania, not too worried, I guess, about iBirthday, and I really hope iBirthday makes him pay.
That's crazy to devote your first pick to the Xerath player. Lux.
There was
Okay.
Xerath one trick, like more of a one trick than Conflicts is with Urgot. Pennsylvania, on the other end, has opted for Luxona. Interested to see if that's going to be a bottom lane combination. Blossom definitely plays their fair share of Sona. They're quite a great support player. I would say the ace of the team, but Blitzcrank is an excellent counter pick here. I do like that pick. You pull in a Sona, she's as good as dead. I think she still has less health than a melee minion at level 1. Or less health than a cannon minion, what's one of those. So yeah, it's actually insane. She does have less health than them, but the resistances obviously makes up for it. We do see Florida has opted for the Ashe, so Ashe Blitzcrank. That'll be a pretty potent combination. Everybody likes their Ashe. I haven't seen King Post-it play too much Ashe, lately, but every AD carry worth their salt is going to be able to play this champion to a decent level.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that Lux pick, to be completely honest with you, because you already give it away that it's going mid because you also picked the Sona, which is only going to go support.
No, you're not giving away that it's going mid because this might be a Luxona bot lane. Luxona is something that's been run in a lot of the higher level leagues. LCK had a couple of really successful games with it. LPL played Luxona to some great success during the tail end of the regular seasons for those respective leagues. So I definitely am interested in seeing this bot lane combination. They are very susceptible to the Blitzcrank. However, they can get their fair share of poking while staying behind the minions, and that could really, really force Florida into some bad trades and get them really disadvantaged in lane.
Mordekaiser being banned out. I mean, they also grabbed the Lissandra, which I'm assuming is going either top or mid if it is a Lux in the bot lane. But at that point, that's maybe too much AP, and they really need some hard AD if they're going Lux at the AD carry position.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of AP. It looks like it might be a Lissandra mid. Voidhammer has played a lot of Lissandra, and I think that is an absolutely excellent pick because take a look at Team Pennsylvania and their CC, and take a look at the lack of mobility on Team Florida. It's actually kind of insane. We do see, as you mentioned earlier, Mordekaiser getting banned by Team Pennsylvania, as well as Ornn. Looks like Florida has opted to ban Shen, and I'm not quite sure what the other ban is here. I think it's Shen. Is it Shen Nocturne? I need a confirmation real quick. It is Shen Nocturne. Okay.
Okay.
Yep, so Florida has opted to ban Shen and Nocturne. Diamond Eye doesn't really play all too much Nocturne, but definitely has a bag of tricks that they can open up. It looks like they will opt for that Xin Zhao. Conflicts is definitely a Shen player, so I think that was a pretty wise ban on the side of Florida as well.
Yeah, I mean, looking for some more AD in the lineup, so Xin Zhao is not a bad pick for that reason, but they're really lacking in the tank department too. I'm just overall really not a huge fan of this comp Pennsylvania is making so far.
I don't think I'm going to be a big fan of the Strundle pick. Interested to see if Qui-Gon's going to opt to do it. I mean, well, there's no tanks on this team, man.
Yeah, that's a
Qui-Gon
weird
plays Warwick. Qui-Gon plays Amumu. They play Shyvana. They play Sejuani. I just think that Trundle was the worst pick out of those potential 5 that they play a lot of, and I'm not too excited about it. Although you might have some gripes with the Pennsylvania draft, I think that so far they've outdrafted Florida. There are immobile members of Team Florida, and Team Pennsylvania has the CC to be able to lock them down and the ability to get onto the backline quickly with that Zinzao. Florida has opted to round out their comp with Camille, whereas Pennsylvania rounds out theirs with Garen. Garen, a very I'm gonna run you down type champion. Florida's gonna have a hard time trying to get away. They might be able to kite at a decent level with the Ash and the Trundle being able to pop some slows. Xerath's W, the slow field around it if you don't get hit by the middle of it, is really really strong as well. So they could possibly kite Garen out that way. But I do think that Team Florida is gonna have their problems with this team comp.
I mean, Florida's going to have their problems, but so is Pennsylvania because that Blitzcrank can do a lot of damage against their bot lane.
I do agree with that. I mean,
It's going to be an interesting game.
I'm interested to see if Team Florida is going to make Pennsylvania pay for not banning that Xerath. Like that Xerath, it might have been a trap or whatever. They might have, Team Florida might have just played exactly into Team Pennsylvania's hands. But listen, I don't care what rank a player is. If they have a one-trick champion that's all they do, they play that champion much more than they play any other champion. Just ban it, seriously. Like you're gonna get snake bitten if you don't.
Well, we'll see if that snake named Xerath bites or not.
Not exactly what I was going for here. We did have a snake in the last game. That was Xerath doesn't really slither around too much,
Nah, he just kind of floats.
Not really a snake. Not your best moment there, my friend. I'm sorry.
I was just playing off what you said.
No, I can't. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul. You see, this is what happens when you cast with people from Ohio. They're nothing but corn.
Oh, okay. Sure.
I love corn.
This whole draft just got me really confused because I don't understand the Trundle pick. I don't understand the Lux Sona blind pick when you just have the opponent's mid laner. You pick your bot lane and you open it to getting counterpicked at the Blitzcrank. And I don't really understand the Garen pick either.
Yeah, I can't say I disagree with you. I do think that, the Lux Sona selection I don't think is the worst thing ever against the Xerath. However, the problem is you selected your bot lane before Florida did, so Florida is able to take a Blitzcrank, which is really, really good against Lux and Sona. Now, over Pennsylvania, followed it up with the Lysandra, which I think is the best pick in this draft. Definitely think that was the best champion picked by both sides, and will definitely make a very, very large impact in this game. But other than that, definitely some questions on either side. Maybe they're just opting to go for comfort here. I'm not really too sure. Pennsylvania's top laner doesn't really play that much Garen. Diamond Eye plays a whole laundry list of junglers, but certainly wasn't expecting to see the Zinzao on the radar.
I'm honestly not really that big of a huge fan of the Lysandra pick. Is you see the Xerath first pick, you know it's going mid. You've got all the power in the world to counterpick it, and you pick a mage that gets heavily outranged by Xerath.
Yeah, I agree with that. I definitely have a lot of questions about that myself. Do you think that Florida's gonna have to play through Nitro Dax? He is their ace player on this team and on a champion that can definitely carry in Camille. Camille, not really a champion until you get 3 items, is what I've been told by a Grandmaster Camille OTP. So I'm gonna take their word for it. You don't really come alive until then, but I'm interested to see a Blossom. See if they're going to their skill is going to blossom this game, because they are far and away the best player on Team Pennsylvania, and I would have liked to see them on a bit more of a playmaking support. That Thresh was banned. I think that was probably a wise move there. They do play their fair share of Shaco as well. That would have been really, really cool to see. But opting for the Sona, pretty strong champion. Does a lot of damage, can sustain very well, can speed your team up, can drop some CC. Pretty much does it all except be tanky,
Yeah, no, we could definitely see like a high AP Sona that just starts one-shotting the Xerath and the Ash, but that's if it can survive the onslaught of the Blitzcrank and the Trundle.
Yeah, I definitely agree. You know, I yeah, that Trundle pick still just mystifies me. It's not really gonna make too much happen here, and maybe it'll go into the Garen, able to go on the Zinzao. I don't know. So if you're
Yeah,
Team Florida,
what's the other?
what's your game plan? What's your game plan? You're Team Florida. You're the coach of the team. Where are you telling them to focus? What do you think you're gonna have them take priority of this game in order to find a W?
Well, first of all, if I'm the coach and that's the draft we went with, I would question if I was high or not before the match started. And second of all, I'd say the priority is punishing the Sona as hard as possible.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Ash can definitely do a large share of the damage if she's allowed to just sit there and beat on people. So you can definitely see something like that happen if a hook gets landed. That Sona will be in big trouble. And that Lux will too. I mean, Lux isn't exactly the most sturdy of champions very early on in the game. And when you're dealing with auto attacks and volleys galore, they're definitely going to be dodging a minefield of skill shots here in this bottom lane.
Yeah, for sure. Like this whole game is kind of designed on the back of skill shots between the Blitzcrank, the Xerath, the Lux, and the Sona. Granted, Sona only has the one skill shot with her ultimate, but it's a game-changing ultimate if it's landed well.
Oh, absolutely. Now, your team Pennsylvania. You drafted the team Pennsylvania comp. How you winning the game? What are you doing? What are you playing through?
I say you try to punish the Xerath because walking into this, that's their weakest player. Supposedly, maybe he's a one-trick god on a Smurf account. Who knows? But if you're playing jungle and you see a Xerath, in my mind, that's just free real estate. Because if you can hop onto him, he can't get away without blowing flash.
It's free real estate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I definitely agree with that. You see, the problem with Team Pennsylvania is that I don't know who you play through. I suppose that like you can get your Garen ahead, and then play through your Garen, who's just going to be an absolute menace. Spinning around, running people down. Um, but I mean, there's no super quote unquote hard carry. I suppose if you get your Lux ahead far enough, they're going to be pumping out a lot of damage. Whereas we see on Florida, you have two two champions that you can really funnel a lot of your resources into, and Camille and Ash, and even the Xerath, to a certain extent. When you're getting hit with Arcano pulses that are screens away that you can't even see in enough time to dodge, and they're chunking you out, they could definitely do a lot with that. I think Florida's sieging power is way better than Pennsylvania's all in. A lot of their all in's pretty conditional. They have to hit skill shots. I mean, Lissandra can, engage pretty well, but unless they're, coming from a flank angle, it's pretty telegraphed. So I think Florida might have a pretty easy time of trying to get away. Um, Thinking about it more and more, I actually think that Florida did have the better draft here.
yeah, no, I do agree that I think Florida overall had the better draft, but there's still picks on their comp that I'm very confused by.
Yeah, I do agree with the confusing picks. I feel befuddled as well. And I mean, maybe this is just Team Pennsylvania saying, you know what, we're better than this team. We're just gonna walk in. We're gonna throw all our cards on the table. We're gonna throw, a team comp that we're not trying to, reveal or anything like that for the next round, and see if they can just win off of pure player skill alone. Which I don't think is naturally the worst strategy in the world. But they're really gonna have to play sharply. If they play loose and sloppy, they could definitely lose.
Yeah, this is very much to me looking like it's going to be a whoever makes the bigger mistake is going to pay kind of game.
Yeah,
This is the waiting for your opponent to mess up kind of League of Legends game, and sometimes you have those, and there's just nothing you can do about it.
and apparently, according to Twitch chat, the Florida Trident have won the draft. I can't say I disagree. The last time we saw some Blitzcrank play here in Scuffed League, it wasn't that great. So I'm interested to see if we see the next step in the evolution of Pro Crank here. And I'm really looking to see an invade here. I mean, Scuffed League has been so boring with these invades. Like, come on, guys. Level 1 snooze fest.
Well, it is a Blitzcrank, and if you draft Blitzcrank, you want to invade early. You want to try to get a pull and pull for an engage, especially when the people on the blue side of their map don't have escapes besides Flash.
The absolute menace to society, the thigh high croc. They're going to be ready to walk forward, and they are going to spot out this Lux pretty quickly. They're biding their time. A lot of patience here. Not quite sure if they can see the Lux. Not sure if they have the vision there. I don't think they've pinged her out.
They're dancing in the bush.
Yeah, they're just waiting, and here they come. The thigh-high croc is on the way. He does get rooted up along with the trundle, and crisis potentially averted there. An excellent job there by this Lux, hitting a really, really solid snare. Did open snare first. Not exactly the greatest thing you want to do in the spot lane, but something that I find very interesting is that they both opened Spell Thief's item. Um, I I don't know, man.
Yeah, they heavily nerfed that whole double support start into the ground because the tax of having the support item and gaining less gold per minion off of it, it's going to be punishing on both of them, and we'll see how the gold lead difference changes as the game goes on. 'Cause that might really hurt them later on.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? I'm wondering if they even know that they did that, and they're gonna like find out when they go to go kill a melee minion, and all of a sudden you're getting 8 gold for it, or when you go kill a caster, you're like, hey, why did I get 1 gold for that cat? Oh, we have double support items, don't we? It looks like they might be sharing the golds. The CS is about 3-2.
Huh.
I don't know. It's just weird. This is really really suspect stuff. So I don't know, man. Like I wish I had better words to use, but I'm just confused, man. And, I'm confused on a regular basis, but I'm like really confused.
Yeah. This whole draft from the start was confusing to me because the picks just did not make a whole lot of sense.
This game is the very definition of Scuffed League, I think. It looks like the Sona is backing. No, they've elected to not back. I was interested in calling that out because I'm thinking that one of them is just going to back to go sell that gold item at some point because, I mean, while it's good right now, it's not going to be good in a couple minutes. That passive comes up on you really, really quick.
Yeah, I did just realize I was asking Florida to make sense, so I understand the errors of my way there.
That is true. You never want to mess with Florida, man.
But I expected more from Pennsylvania.
Yeah, a little bit. No, nice.
Great
Right onto the Lux. The flash and heal will get burnt. The ignite burnt by the Blitzcrank. And here we have a gank into the mid lane. Birthday is under siege here, getting dangerously low. Is going to pop the barrier and will get away. Qui-Gon Scotch on the save there.
That's some fun Xin Zhao play to watch right there. That's what you want to see, is him just getting onto a target and just poking him over and over again.
Yeah, it was a pretty nice barrier by iBirthday. They did not burn the flash. And it looks like the bottom lane is backing. I think they may have seen the error of their ways. This is a nice engagement onto iBirthday. Voidhammer does not have the mana left. And no, they have not. They went back for a Dark Seal and a pair of boots. What are you doing? Why? I don't understand. I don't understand. Meanwhile, King Posted has opened up a 24-10 CS lead. I mean, if they're going to give you a free lane, you may as well take it.
Yeah, for sure. I love the skin matchup in the top lane, though.
Maybe I just didn't, watch enough of, the high level play with the Lux and the Sona, and you're supposed to start both support items, and maybe I'm actually just wrong. No idea what I'm talking about, but I mean, I think I know a little bit of what I'm talking about. I mean, that's just not good.
I'm pretty sure that was the strat at one point, was the double support item start for like the Sona funnel comps with Tarek and later with Lux and whatnot. But I'm pretty sure they just changed the support items to take that out as a viable strategy.
Definitely seems like they're having a rough time in that bottom lane. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Voidhammer definitely taking it to iBirthday. We do see Nitro did engage onto Conflicts, but Diamond Eye was there for the gank, and Nitro is gonna have to run away. Qui-Gon Scotch, the nice Trundle Pillar there, will help Nitro get out of there unscathed.
I like seeing the aggressiveness coming out of the Xin Zhao, but he's not getting a ton for it.
Yeah, I mean, it does burn the barrier in mid lane, didn't even burn the flash in the top lane. Nitro was able to get out without really any incident there. Did take a bit of damage, and that does allow conflicts. He's got a large health lead right now, but it's getting smaller and smaller, and the wave's going to get into the turret, and he's not going to be able to do all too much. Birthday taking a severe amount of poke here, down 16 CS. Not exactly having the time of his life, and he owes it all to Alessandra.
Yeah, and Zeref's the safe pick because he can stay as far away from possible and just try to farm and poke up his Qs and W and whatnot. But you can't step up to auto attack the waves at all. And early, before you have the mana to just straight up one shot the entire wave, farming can be kind of difficult when you're limited to just hugging your tower.
Nitro
Oh,
finding
great
pretty good
Lux
trade there.
Q.
That was a nice Lux binding there, but it's not going to do all that much. As King posted, we'll continue to CS and we'll probably feel good about it. Has a nice early lead for themselves, as I mentioned earlier, and it looks like they're probably going to get to their BF sword without much incident. And I mean, that BF sword spike is going to spell danger for the bot lane of Team Pennsylvania. You see the thigh high croc can't quite land the hook. That's what you
Very
get
nice
for doing
sidestep.
such a horrifying thing. As Qui-Gon Scotch is clearing a pink ward, but is now in the middle of 3 members of the enemy team. The ice coffin goes down, and Voidhammer is going to pick up first blood for the side of Team Pennsylvania. Qui-Gon Scotch gets put on the rocks out a little bit too far.
That's a classic scenario where you're just like, oh, I'm coming bot, and you try to force a play that can't be made because the other team can sense it. As soon as that Blitzcrank starts making the move to go in, they start to realize that if he's playing that aggressive when they have their minion waves pushing forward like that, they have to know at that point that Trundle is on the way. And that makes the collapse even easier from Xinjiao and Lissandra.
Looks like Lux and Sona are once again backing. And I think they're just keeping the support items here. Yeah. They've both gone Dark Seal. There's 3 members on Team Pennsylvania with Dark Seal and 3 stacks, which is not really a whole lot. The Lissandra's really going to like the 2 stacks here. Has been really taking this Xerath to the limit here in the early laning phase. So interested to see how that extra AP is going to help them out. I would imagine pretty well. Diamond Eye will take this blue buff, won't pass it over to the Lissandra. I think I would have liked to seen it on Lissandra here. So really think that she's going to be able to parlay her early lead into advantages around the rest of the map. But, you know, jungler level 5 kind of wants the second blue buff. You know, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, if you like it, you put a ring on it, and that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, you make a good point there. I like that one. That was a good one. You know, a little underrated joke there. I'm a big fan of that. So it looks like Ash went back and got a Vamp Scepter and a Recurve Bow as opposed to a BF Sword.
So we're seeing the Bork Rush Ash build.
Now against the heavy poke of Luxona, I don't necessarily hate it. However, that poke has yet to be seen too much. I don't think, you know, the Ash has been under siege too much, and you're really gonna miss out on that BF sword damage when and if this Blitzcrank lands a hook.
Yeah, I mean the Bork will come in handy against the Garen towards the later end of the game, but that's really the only target where you'd think a Bork is going to be helping you that much.
As we saw, there was a small engagement in the bot lane. There was a nice snare and then a final
Oh,
spark.
we got a jungle duel.
A jungle fight. Qui-Gon Scotch running for his life, but Diamond Eye now in a little bit of trouble. Does have to burn the flash. The Lissandra is there to help him out, but now the Garen on top of the Camille, and now the Camille is running for their life. She is going to be able to hook shot herself away and get out of there. Toph Beifong, or not Toph Beifong. What's her name? The metal bender lady. I can't remember her name. No. That's it's Lin Beifong, right? The one in the Korra series.
I didn't watch Korra.
What? I mean, I didn't watch too much of it either. I can't remember the name anymore. I always would remember the name because I always make that joke, and now I just can't remember. So what happens when you put a camera on me?
I don't know, when I think Metal Bender, I just think Toph.
She did it like once.
No, she did it more than once.
Okay, she did it like twice. Excellent. Yeah, alright. So I made my mistake and then I quickly corrected it. As you do see a nice
good job.
Diamond Eye here. The heal does come out. Nice hook
great
landing
pull.
as well. And now this Zinzao is in a lot of trouble. A Blossom is going to escort him out, and here comes the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. It does land, the heal comes out, and now the CC gets layered, and now King Post-it's in a lot of trouble. He flashes, but gets taken down by the Lux, and Team Pennsylvania has turned this one around. A nice hook landed by the Blitzcrank will burn the flash of the Lux, but now Voidhammer is here. There is the Coffin taking down the Qui-Gon Scotch once again on the rocks. I've already made that joke once before, and I'll make it again and again, as we do see the Camille in the back line, but in the middle of 4 members of Team Pennsylvania. What are you doing? Int with a capital int. And down goes this Camille, an interesting Hextech ultimatum, and yeah, you don't want to do that in the middle of 4 people of the enemy team. It just doesn't work out.
That was beautifully executed from the poking comp side of Pennsylvania there, as they swap between the Lux Qs and the snares with the Lysandra Qs and her damage, and Sona healing up Xin Zhao to keep him alive in that, and dealing her own poke damage as well. And it was just too much to take for the other team, because they just did not have the healing or the damage to combat that amount of healing and damage.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And while King Posted did have a pretty large lead early on, it's definitely starting to shrink a little bit. This Lux has 2 kills on them. And what I did like is when they went to go head up to the Dragon, the Lux and the Sono popped their support quest item at the exact same time. The team synergy right there is something that you love to see.
Yeah, and I do wonder if the Ash had gone for the BF sword instead of for the Vamp, would she have had enough damage to actually kill Xin Zhao straight out there?
Interesting choice of Bramble Vest here by Camille. There's a Lysandra, a Lux, and a Sona, and you're really trying to get to your Trinity Force. I don't think Bramble Vest is the wave here.
Yeah, it looks like it's not even like a trolley crit Garen build here either. It looks like he's going for like a pretty standard Triforce Garen rush. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure what the Bramble Best is about either.
Yeah. So Qui-Gon Scotch did start up this Rift Herald, but he's going to get spotted out pretty quickly. Birthday with a nice burst onto Voidhammer, but Voidhammer maybe weren't a part of it. Here comes the Camille, gets knocked away by Diamond Eye. Now this Lysandra is pretty low. Here comes the Xerath ultimate. Can it land it onto Voidhammer? Does. But put him in a coffin, keep him alive. Voidhammer have the moves. Does not. The kill going to Birthday, and you know what? He earned that one.
Yeah, putting in the work with the Xerath ult there. He missed all of the shots, but he got the one that counts at the end and forcing the ult out of the Lysandra, which set up basically just putting her in a bad situation for his team to collapse.
Absolutely. We did see the Infernal Crystal Arrow go out, and it did not hit anybody, so that'll be a cooldown to take note of at some point. We do see that it looks like Team Florida, they've busted open the Rift Herald. They're looking to bust open the mid lane turret. Florida man going crazy here, and that hook almost landed onto the Sona. Just it did not have the range for it. That would have been pretty big. So we do see Nitro is trying to find some conflict up here with Conflicts, putting a lot of damage down onto him. I did hate on the Bramble Vest, and I still will, but it seems to be doing a share of the work here. Qui-Gon Scotch forced to flash away as he found himself on the wrong side of the tracks, was quickly surrounded by that Xin Zhao and by that Lysandra. Forced to flash away, a pretty wise move there.
Yeah, it's a lot of great trading with Garen, and the Bramble Vest is definitely helping Camille in lane. It's not going to be great for her as this game goes on, unless she's going for like a full-out split push against the Garen strat. But in the same breath, it's a Garen. He's going to walk away for 5 seconds and regen all of his health back.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that Grievous Wounds is going to wear off once, you go into the Thornmail. The Grievous Wounds is just going to wear off, and he's going to start healing. So I'm not really seeing all the healing coming out here. I mean, it's good against the Sona. Like, that's nice. And I mean, it's good when Lysandra Frozen Tombs, but that's about it. So we do see High Croc is in the middle of 2 members of the enemy team. It does not land the hook. A nice flash there. The final spark does not land, but you really got to hit those hooks when you're point blank, and hitting one of those hooks is going to be huge for your team's morale, for AD carry's morale. Try to jumpstart him and get him into the game, and just did not have the hook there.
Yeah, I think he was probably going for the speed up knock up first to get the guaranteed pull off, but I think he underestimated how much of a slowdown the Lux E in the bush was going to be to keep him out of range of actually being able to hit Sona.
You very well may be right there. As we do see Nitro does try to find another engagement onto Conflicts. We'll try to chase him down, but we'll just stay into the mini wave, tank some minion aggro, and we'll be content to continue to farm here. So we do see the Lysandra will make her way back toward mid, making her way downtown, walking fast, faces past, she's homebound.
You know, my music reference was a lot better than that.
You know what? You might be right. I was trying to think of some rebuttal, but you're probably right. So we do see the mid lane turret finally taken out by Team Florida. Pretty nice stuff there. This is big. First turret of the game. It's pretty huge. iBirthday definitely held his own, you know. Down in CS, down pretty hard in CS, about almost 90, not 90, almost 40 at this point. But has a kill, hasn't inted, has played really well, and maybe the Xerath was actually worth a ban. We might find out the Xerath's only going to get stronger and stronger and is going to deal more damage. So the positioning is going to be key out of iBirthday. It's a matter of we know that he knows how to play Xerath from what we can see. Can he position properly is going to be the key.
Yeah, dropping the Rift Herald mid to me in the first place was kind of a strange decision because Birthday was doing so well in that matchup, and trying to stall out the mid lane matchup gives him more of a chance to be able to farm safely without the rest of the team coming over and making the game into an ARAM scenario. But also you want to open up the whole map, and mid is the best place to do that. So there's an argument for them making the correct call there, but you know.
See a nice little congregation around Dragon. It looks like all 5 members of each team are here. They are going to fight over this Ocean Drake. Looks like Team Pennsylvania does have the inside tracker. A nice hook though onto Diamond Eye. He's gonna have to burn his flash. Void Hammer does go in and lands that root, preventing any further damage here. But Diamond Eye is pretty low, is getting healed up. Qui-Gon in a bit of a precarious position. Nice stun landed onto Diamond Eye. That Arcano Pulse did not quite hit. And if it did, I think that it might have meant Dragon control for Team Florida, but they might be looking for a play. The Frozen Tomb onto the Ashe. The Ashe does flash out. Now she's going to have to kite away. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow does go down onto the Garen. Now it looks like Camille gets absolutely blown up there by Conflicts, and it looks like it's a 1-for-0 in favor of Team Pennsylvania. Diamond Eye, not quite sure if he's done yet. Blitzcrank fishing for a hook maybe. Will not throw the hook, and that is a 1-for-0 in favor of Team Pennsylvania. A great engage by Team Pennsylvania early on. Great job by King Posted to get out of there without dying, and did quite help.
Oh my god!
No!
The Blitzcrank hook snipes the dragon!
You're kidding!
Oh my god, this is when you start like pinging Xin Zhao's smite on cooldown. Oh my gosh, what a play!
Oh man, Team Pennsylvania, they won the fight, but the prize goes over to Team Florida. What a god hook!
Oh man! I can't believe that just happened.
This is the moment that I wish we had caster cams for this situation, like that we could go to, because
yeah, the look on your my face was priceless there.
That was absolutely insane. That was crazy. What a hook by Blitzcrank to secure the dragon. He's an absolute nut, an absolute banger of a support right here. That was the best hook of the game so far.
Oh, that might be the best hook of the whole tournament so far.
Yeah, and Void Hammer taking quite a bit of damage there. Took an unnecessary tower shot, ate an Arcano Pulse, like and it's something that you don't really feel good about. But iBirthday is just gonna get stronger and stronger, and I'm starting to think that iBirthday might be the one to take them to the promised land, unless we see more hooks from the thigh-high croc, known as Blitzcrank. I'm not sure what was more disgusting, that Blitzcrank hook or the thought of a thigh-high croc.
Yeah, the Blitzcrank pulls as this game goes on is really going to be what their comp comes down to, because getting a pull onto Lux or Sona basically guarantees them a fight win.
Absolutely. You do need to silence the Sona immediately, even before knocking her up, so she
sure.
can't ult right away. Then you get the knock up afterward. You need to not get greedy and try to land hook knock up all in one. Because, due to ping differences, there might be a moment in time where that Sona is able to get an ult off, and that could spell disaster. But definitely would be beneficial for Blitzcrank to land a hook onto one of these squishies not named Lysandra.
Yeah.
Lysandra has opted for a less tanky build here, has just gone with the initial Luden's Echo. Has not opted for a tank item or anything like that. Well, not necessarily a tank item, but your standard Rod of Ages here. So
yeah, I thought that was interesting. Oh wow, Lux ulting to steal the blue buff.
It was taken by the Sona actually. The snare does not land onto the Camille. Nice hook.
Oh, that is not who you want to hook.
Yeah, not necessarily he won a hook. And now we have King Post-it trying to find a kill onto this Garen. Stepped a little too far back. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow landed onto Lysandra. The Frozen Tomb goes down. She's going to keep herself alive for a little bit longer. Nitro is going to try to get out of there, but goes down to a Blossom here. And the damage is not there for this Ashe quite yet, as it looks like Lysandra will escape with her life. A 1-for-1 overall. Not too bad there. The kill did go over to the Camille. So, no, nothing too exciting, nothing to really write home about here.
Yeah.
Just standard 1-for-1, and Team Florida doesn't really get too much out of it. They're going to lose their mid turret, so I believe within the next wave or so. So definitely advantage Pennsylvania.
That was a really good Camille out there to push the team back and isolate the one target she needed to get the kill. But then she overcommits and tries to onto the Zhenjiao while the rest of her team was retreating. And I'm amazed she got out alive.
Yeah, I think that fight would have worked. Did you see a TP by the Camille? Maybe trying to make something happen mid lane. She's going to try to go for this, but she will back off. Bit of a wasted TP there. The Rift Herald was taken quite some time ago and was dropped by Team Florida here, as they have had complete control of the Rift Heralds this game. They have had both of them.
Yeah, they have taken both Rift Heralds so far. Didn't get a ton off of that second one. He was probably running out of time on it in his inventory and just had to drop it somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, you'll take the damage. It's better to get it than to not get it,
Better than losing it, yeah.
But I was talking a little bit more about that fight. I think Camille had the right idea with going into the backline and kind of, taking on 3 members of the enemy team. The issue was the Frozen Tomb from Lysandra creates that slow field that it hurts to walk into and obviously slows you down by a lot. So it really cut off the rest of the team. So while in retrospect it would have been really good had the Frozen Tomb not been in that spot, and 3 people were on Camille, allowing time for the Ashe and the Xerath to kind of walk up and be able to get their damage in. Because of that Frozen Tomb, Camille kind of isolated herself out in Siberia.
Yeah, and the other big thing I've noticed about these fights so far is Trundle really has not been able to do a whole lot. We brought up that we were really confused by that pick in Pick and Ban, and we haven't really seen it accomplish much.
Yeah, I mean, it's secured 2 Rift Heralds.
That's true.
So we do see Dragon number 3 on the table. The soul of choice for today's game is Infernal Soul, and interested to see if the Trank's going to be able to make something happen. Nitro put quite a bit of damage onto Void Hammer there. Nitro does have that Trinity Force, and that damage was definitely showing there.
Nitro doesn't have TP, but Lysandra does.
Yeah, that's a pretty big differential there.
Nitro's got to start the long walk back to this Dragon.
And Lysandra is TPing in, and I believe she's going to have the flank. Is she going to take the flank? She's not. She's just going to regroup with the rest of the team. This Dragon getting lower and lower by the second, down to about 3k. Thigh-high Crocs is feeling himself, though, and he's ready to try to hit this again. And it's another steal!
But the Trundle steals it!
He's got ice water in his veins! He steals the Drake! The Lysandra fails the flash over the wall and goes down. A 1-for-1, but again, Team Florida getting the better end of this. Florida, man, is crazy right now.
Oh man, well, we were just talking about the Trundle not doing a whole lot, but taking a couple of Rift Heralds, and now he's responsible for his team stealing a second Drake.
Yeah, that is absolutely huge. The Infernal one will give them a little bit more damage as well, and if you ever start getting behind in the game, being ahead in Drakes means, delaying Soul a little bit longer for your team and having an opportunity to scale up here. But 2 straight steals, and I mean, the confidence of Diamond Eye right now is probably shattered.
So, I just now realized this. Garen has 2 daggers in his inventory off of the Triforce, so he might be going for more damage.
Yeah, interested to see what he's going to build into with those 2. There's a lot of options you could have there.
I think he's trying to avoid building up super tanky for the sake of not letting Trundle have anybody to steal their stats off of. That would be great for him, possibly. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, I would agree with that. A Blade of the Rune King is possible. A Phantom Dancer is also possible. The Beyblade spin, as I like to call it.
It is a Phantom Dancer.
Yeah. Yep. Excellent. I'm so smart, dude. The Nostradamus of League of Legends, my guy,
I didn't think he was going crit Garen, but we have a crit Garen this game.
I think it's more so for the shield, but, the crit damage definitely helps on the spin.
I don't know. We'll see what his next item is.
That Lifeline shield's going to be pretty strong. He did go with the attack speed boots, which I find kind of interesting. I think Boots of Swiftness probably would have been a little bit of a better choice here. But you know, 2-1-0 right now, 183 CS. Can't really argue with the results so far. We'll see how where the rest of this game takes us. As you know, although Team Florida has gotten the steals, as we see Qui-Gon is in a precarious position here. Does get hit with the Frozen Tomb, rooted up, snared forever, and a Blossom is now on a killing spree. As that was pretty free there. Qui-Gon finding himself in the spot where you really shouldn't be at this point in the game, completely alone, especially since you're not that tanky yet.
Yeah, you see all of those guys just pushing up mid lane super hard, and Blitzcrank's unable to find a pull there. Oh,
Nice to chain a Crystal Arrow. Blitzcrank is able to find the pull, but the Hextech ultimatum went down, so Lysandra kind of got ping-ponged back and forth a little bit there. The kill is going over to the side of Team Florida, and they are still falling behind in gold. They're about 5k down now, and while they have stolen the last two Drakes, the Drakes don't really give gold anymore, and this is bad. You know, we had one recall here, and
run!
run. Oh, what an
the
awesome
flash
flash
photo.
crescendo. Down goes the Xerath. The Blitzcrank is going to die for his sins as well. And we see an engagement here onto the Garen. Is this Camille going to be able to take down the Garen? He is getting pretty low. A lot of auto attacks coming out. That lifeline shield that we talked about goes down. He is low. The knockup and the chomp. This one goes over to Qui-Gon Scotch. But overall, not where you want to be if you are Team Florida. The back timing was just so poor there, you know, especially when you back in Vision, you know, Team Pennsylvania very quickly recognized that they had the advantage in that fight, and they took it.
Yeah, Garen not building a ton of tank. He's building up a Bramble Vest now, but the Camille is just able to melt through him.
Look at these Magi stacks out of this Lux and the Sona.
Oh, wow. I didn't
20 and
realize.
17. 17 for the Lux, 20 for the Sona. The Sona has gone a more damage-oriented build as well, and this bot lane combination has ended up paying off. 7, 0, and 13 across the two of them. They have plenty of damage. They have plenty of utility, and I mean, Team Florida was just not able to take advantage of what could have been a pretty poor early game for that bot lane.
Yeah, and there's not a ton of MR coming out on the other side of the map either. Trundle's got a cloak or a cowl, but that's literally
He's
it.
also in trouble. He is going to go down here. I would believe. He's got a lot of speed on him, but does get taken down by the Garen ultimate there. He was put in the Frozen Tomb, had a sword driven through his skull, splitting his body in half, and down he goes.
Trundle did get to finish the Spirit Visage with that, so we've got that going for us. They've completed a 1 MR item against the triple MR team.
I think the Dragon is coming up pretty soon, and this Trundle's not going to be here for a steal attempt.
Come on, Crocs.
I wonder if that Croc will be able to make it happen again. Not quite sure. I mean,
I could see
You know-
Xerath stealing it. I could see Edge stealing it.
it's like being a kicker in the NFL. You know, he's got to land the smite here, and the Arcana Post charging up, and he does get the smite. Diamond Die is gold with a diamond level smite there. Is able to secure the Drake. You know, he's got the jitters out. Ooh, Frozen Tomb going down, and she's just stunned up and snared forever. Down goes this Camille, and Team Florida is just getting caught out left and right.
That Frozen Tomb is basically a death sentence at this point in the game because nobody on that team can survive the burst from the Lux Sona that you inquire if you get trapped in that tomb.
Yeah, that is. Oh man.
They're going to stay in that tomb. They're just going to lower you into the ground because you are done.
Where's the dancing coughing meme when you need it? So, Team Pennsylvania, pretty firm control of this game so far. The gold lead, about 5k and some change. It's not that large yet, but it does have the potential to bloom into something more, especially with the rate at which Team Florida is just getting caught out. I think that they're just completely undisciplined, and that's a shame, you know, because in a best of one, you got to play as best as you can, and this team is just like a Florida man. They are just doing their own thing to the beat of their own drum, going at their own tempo, and they're paying for it dearly.
It's very on brand for Florida, though. You can't knock them for sticking to their guns.
Yeah, I would have liked to see, like, you know, some chaos with, like, the team running around and stuff like that, though. Not just somebody going off and doing their own thing like they've been called out multiple times, like again and again. You know, you see this top and jungle combination combined 2, 9, and 6. That's 9 of your team's 12 deaths on your top laner and jungler. That is not what you want to see at all.
No, it's not. There's really no situation where you ever want to see those kind of a numbers. But really, it's like, what can you do at this point to try to combat it?
Qui-Gon once again caught out, as we were saying, just hit with every CC in the book. He's
Not
got
that.
nowhere
That's
to
not how
go.
you come back from it.
Blossom is now dominating, and once again, the Trundle is just inting at this point.
Yeah, you get to a point where you have to put up a ward line in your jungle, and you basically have to draw a line across the map that says if you go past this, you will die. And you have to respect that line and fall back. And they're not, and they're just going to keep getting picked off.
Absolutely, as we do see, Team Pennsylvania has opted for the Baron. I think Team Florida is going to have to show up and try to make something happen. Team Pennsylvania has peeled off, though. The Lysandra trying to find an engagement. She will find the blue buff, though, and I see that as a pretty just reward for her efforts.
It's like they're just going to circle back and maybe try to start up the Baron again. Nope, they're actually going to go off and look for a pick now.
Little bush camp here. They do spot out birthday. Here comes Lysandra. The flash frozen tomb and absolutely obliterated and deleted off the map is birthday. You can't move, and now you got a gray screen. So
Yep.
pretty rough.
You don't need to land your Lux abilities when your opponent can't move.
Yeah, I think a Banshee's Veil might have been in order. They opted for second item Void Staff.
Or a QSS even would work well.
Yeah, I don't hate it, but I don't think it was the best item choice here. This looks like Team Pennsylvania will be able to take this Baron. I don't think Diamond Eye is going to have to worry about a smite steal here. The Baron does go over to Team Pennsylvania, as we thought. About a 7,000 gold lead now, and they are in firm control of this game. 2 fully stacked Medjais out of this bottom lane. They are really scary.
Lichbane and Death Cap completed for the Lux and Sun as well.
Yeah, that's in the words of the great Phil Swift, that's a lot of damage.
In the words of Freak, that's tons of damage.
Listen, we're not talking about Trinity forces. There are 3 Trinity forces in this game, but we ain't talking about Trinity forces. There's no need to invoke Freak's name.
There's 2 of them on one team here.
This dragon will be respawning soon, so it looks like Team Pennsylvania, their plan is probably to get mid-inner turret, which they did, probably looking for mid-inhibitor turret and potentially mid-inhibitor if they can. They are getting pushed off. Qui-Gon Scotch kind of doing his own thing in the top lane, pushing out that lane. Not quite sure why. It seems like maybe team communication issues or something like that. As this dragon is going to come up, and I mean, if Florida is going to attempt to steal, you have to attempt to steal in which only one person will die for it. But it looks like Team Pennsylvania might just be able to take advantage of the inability to defend the mid turret. That Ashe gets blown up, hit by a straight binding, and absolutely destroyed. And the damage coming out of Team Pennsylvania is just far too great. Down goes the Blitzcrank. Qui-Gon Scotch running for his life. And that is a mid-inhibitor taken down. And it looks like Team Pennsylvania
might just be the game.
The Nexus turrets. Qui-Gon Scotch has nothing to do. He's rooted once. He's rooted again. He's blown up and destroyed. And ace for Team Pennsylvania. And after a pretty rough start for them with objective-wise, they were able to take full control of the game and dominate their opponents. A well-deserved win for Team Pennsylvania.
They lost a couple of key dragons, but they never lost control of the game.
Yeah, there was a couple of hype plays there out of Florida, which you like to see. 2 steals is absolutely huge, especially since Team Pennsylvania ended the game with 2 Drakes. They could have had the Soul, but it was a pretty good job there by Team Florida. But they just got caught out way too much.
Yep, and I think that's something we've seen a lot for this tournament that teams need to work on is the respect of how dangerous it can be when you're falling behind. And you just have to say, that's not our jungle anymore. That's their jungle. Going in there means death.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's just uh, eh, they could have made an impact in this game, and just getting caught out. It seemed like everybody on Team Florida was just getting caught out. I mean, it's it's just really sad to watch because this could have been a very competitive game, especially with these Dragon steals. But instead, it turned out to be kind of a stomp here. Team Florida did spread the love. 1 kill on each member of the team.
It
Feels
got a
pretty
little, it got
good.
one-sided towards the end, but there was still some very fun and hype moments to watch throughout that match.
My birthday did put a lot of damage down. Wasn't quite
Yeah.
sure how well they were gonna do. They left the Zareth open. I still think that the Zareth should have been banned on the side of Team Pennsylvania, but they did not pay for it. But the Zareth was certainly a reason why Team Florida was at least still in the game.
Yeah, if anything, they paid more for picking Trundle than giving him his Zareth.
You are right about that. I don't necessarily disagree. So we will take a look at the rest of the damage charts. The Lux and the Sona didn't do all that much damage in the grand scheme of things, but had this game gone any later, I think their damage would have spiked up immensely.
Yeah, the Lysandra power that came out where her little advances on top of Flash, putting somebody into the cage, was just insane setup that Lux and Sona were always able to follow off on. I didn't initially see the synergy there in their comp, but after seeing how well they executed on it, I'm thoroughly in favor of how that comp can work now.
Absolutely. The Frozen Tomb, along with the Ring of Frost, was a pretty strong combination. You root somebody for even it doesn't even have to be the longest route. It could be, root for maybe 1 second, and that's going to be enough for a Lux to land a binding. And then all of a sudden, now you're rooted for 2 more seconds, and then by that time you're dead. Too much burst damage, not enough magic resistance. Team Pennsylvania just got way too far ahead.
Yeah, it snowballed out of control, but we still had some. There was always that spark for Florida to try to make a comeback off of those Dragon Steals, and it's hard to come back in League of Legends from a deficit just in general. And you have to play it basically perfectly to come back once things really start snowballing out of control, and you can't just keep walking up and getting picked off.
Yeah, absolutely not. I do agree. You need to have a lot of discipline when you're behind. And Team Florida, much like the state of Florida, did not have very much discipline at all. Um, and I gotta say, second Blitzcrank in the tournament, the second one, right?
I think
We've
so.
only had two. It's just really, really disappointing out of both Blitzcranks. They haven't really done all too much. Haven't made too much of an impact here.
Local Florida man snipes Dragon though, so we got that going for
Lo-
us.
Local Florida man punches Dragon to death. Oh man, the headlines tomorrow in the Florida Sun are gonna be probably gonna be something like that. That was a pretty high play though. I gotta give him a lot of credit, but again, just overall pretty disappointing. Seemed like they could have made a huge impact in that lane. They didn't. Weren't able to get the Ash ahead, and the team kind of fell apart around them.
Yeah, I think both teams definitely have some picks that they want to improve on and maybe rethink and do differently. Because as well as the Lysandra, Sona, and the Lux did, the Xin Zhao, in the grand scheme of things, really didn't do a whole lot for that comp. So you might want to experiment around with different jungler picks. Maybe even an Ivern would be better for that comp, just because it's another way to support the people carrying you.
Yeah, that's also not the worst decision in the world. Again, that Trundle pick was just very, very questionable. And the Trundle play was also a little questionable. And I'm not not really surprised at the outcome. It's just unfortunate. I think that the rest of the team was drafted pretty decently, but that Trundle was definitely the kind of ruined their team comp and ruined what they had going.
Yeah, I really question what they were thinking of when they even picked it in the first place, because the other team hadn't picked a single tank yet, and nothing there really countered or like flowed with Trundle at all.
Yeah, it's just a lot of questionable decisions um, between both of these teams in the draft, but Team Pennsylvania comes out ahead. And that was the last game for the night here. We did hope that you enjoyed another night of Scuff League action. We will be back again tomorrow at same time, 8 p.m. Eastern. You can do your local time conversions if you need to do them. Or we will see the Iowa Kingslayers versus the South Dakota Salvation. And that is a game that you do not want to miss. Mikey Poo looking to take down the menace that is Iowa. And if there's a team that can do it, it could be South Dakota. This team looks pretty strong from top to bottom. This is a game that, you know, obviously we're the casters, we work with the league and stuff like that. We're like, oh, whenever somebody tells you, oh, you can't miss this. Now, this is like seriously a game that you cannot miss. Like this game is going to be great. I'm super, super excited, and I'm just the only thing I'm upset about is I don't get to cast it. I gotta, opportunities have to go to everybody, but I am a little salty, just a little bit. That's going to be a great game, so I know our casters, our analysts, and observers are going to do great. Um, I did want to also take the time to thank our observer, Jazz, today. Thank you very much. You made our jobs so much easier. You guys are the unsung heroes. We appreciate you very much, and we also appreciate all of the viewers who stuck with us today. The games were pretty fun. I hope you all enjoyed. We appreciate you taking some time out of your night to chill with us, have a great time, watch some League, and share a couple of laughs. Sword, do you have anything else to say before we go?
Good night and good luck.
Yeah, you know it. Catch us here tomorrow. You better watch those games. Oh yeah, game 2 is North Carolina and New Jersey. That should also be a pretty good game too. But obviously the Iowa Kingslayer and the South Dakota Salvation taking a little bit of the spotlight. But hopefully you'll stick around for that second game too. That's going to be a good one as well.